What is going on, everybody? I am the FDGURU, bringing to you guys a Wednesday MLB edition of my DFS podcast. We have 8 games on the main slate tonight, 2 games in that after-hours slate. We'll be playing it, as always. No rain to worry about on this slate, which is always a plus. Coming off of a rough night last night, but overall, as of late, we've kind of gotten it together after having a really, really slow May. So let's have a huge night tonight. I actually like this slate. It's not the prettiest slate, but I do like the way it's shaping out. As usual, I'm going to talk about the pitching spot, good value spots for pitchers tonight, and then 2 infield and 2 outfield value plays. We don't have a ton of high over-unders on this slate outside of the Coors Field game. Coming off of a, just brutal early slate today, I had Kyle Gibson on my website lineup, and their game was at 12:40 Eastern today. He got scratched at 12:39. So I was at the gym. Even if I wasn't, there's no way in, less than 60 seconds you can do anything about it. Just brutal stuff. I feel like we've ran into scratches more often as of late, but, having a pitcher scratched under a minute before the game locks is just, I was mad, but there's nothing you can do. We just move on. When it's out of your control, you can't really beat yourself up too much. Pretty bullshit, but we'll move on to the main slate tonight. Like I said, I like the way it looks. We also have the Travelers PGA starting tomorrow. It's a signature event, really, really strong field. We saw Rory McIlroy back out for good reason after having that heartbreaking loss in the U.S. Open against DeChambeau. But really strong field. I'll be posting my golf content probably some point after this video. But let's get into the plays here in this video. Drop a like, subscribe, and put my alerts on so you don't miss any future videos. So we have a clear-cut, great spend up tonight. Cole Ragans in Oakland, 10,600. It depends on how you want to construct your lineups. If you pick Ragans, you're obviously going to want Ohtani again at Coors Field. It's going to be tough to really put together a solid lineup. If you have the money to go up at pitcher, Cole Ragans is by far the best option tonight, projected for 42 fantasy points. He's been an absolute stud this year, 3.14 ERA. Couldn't be a better matchup against the Athletics. In Oakland, I really liked Alec Marsh for the Royals last night. He was projected a bunch of points, and he got absolutely lit up by the Athletics. So, nothing's ever a sure thing, but Cole Ragans is definitely a better pitcher, and he's projected the most points on this slate. I don't think he's the best value play, but if you want to spend up, he's the best spend up. I think Freddie Peralta is a decent play at 9,500 in LA. He has fucked me the last 2 starts. I had him in both. I might, play a little butthurt and not play him tonight. But I don't mind Freddie Peralta if you want to look his way. Kevin Gausman's been really up and down this year. He's only 8K with a pretty favorable matchup against the Red Sox. Chris Bassett yesterday was a huge fan favorite in the DFS community. He was high owned and did pretty well. So I don't mind Gausman. I do think Hunter Brown is the best play on this slate at 7,800. He draws a perfect matchup in Chicago against the White Sox. We have the Astros as minus 125 favorites, so not huge favorites. The reason being they have a tough matchup against Garrett Crochet, who is by far the best pitcher on the White Sox. Crochet is borderline a top 5 pitcher in the league right now, the way he's been throwing the ball, but even if Hunter Brown doesn't get in line for the win, I still think he can go 6 innings for a quality start and rack up strikeouts. He's looked really good as of late. A tough start to the year, so he brings a 5 ERA into this game. But over his last 4 starts, he's been fantastic. I mean, he has 9, 7, 7, and 9 strikeouts for only 4 total earned runs in his last 25 innings. So Hunter Brown, he was always a huge prospect with the Astros with a ton of potential. He's still very young. He has definitely had his bright spots. He's had his down spots too, but as of late, it's been mainly bright spots, and this matchup against the White Sox couldn't be any better. So Hunter Brown at sub 8K looks really good. He's projected for 32 fantasy points tonight. If he gets anywhere in the high 20s, we're going to feel good. And then he's represented that fantastic upside. 7 innings, 9 Ks, 58 fantasy points against the Tigers last time out. I think he's found something. Hopefully he has a great night tonight because I will be playing him most likely in cash lineups so we can stack the Dodgers and other great hitters. Because I do think on a slate like tonight with not a lot of high-scoring potential games, I do think getting into that Coors Field game with the Dodgers is going to be very valuable for those hitting points. I like Hunter Brown. In my opinion, the best value play on the slate. I think Gosman's right there too at only $200 more. For catcher / first base, Pete Alonso, the Mets are one of my favorite teams to target tonight in Texas against Andrew Heaney. Heaney is he's an older pitcher. He's a guy that you could always, pick as a value guy if he has a good matchup against a bad hitting team. He's usually cheap. But you can also pick on him on the other side too. Arlington, it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. It's a domed stadium. I don't know if it's hot in Texas. I'm assuming it is, and they probably will have the roof open. Should be good hitting weather as it usually is in Texas. The Mets look really good tonight. This has one of the highest over-unders on the slate, 8.5. Outside of the Coors Field game, it's this game and then the Brewers and Angels that both have 8.5 over-unders. We don't see any other game with an 8.5 over-under. So Pete Alonso at 3,300, that's a nice spend down on him. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad either. 243 average, it's a little lower than what you want from Pete Alonso. With a guy like Alonso, you want him to be batting, 260 because he has so much power. He doesn't need to bat like 280. 260 is, if you're a Mets fan, that's where you want to see it. But he's been bringing it up. 15 homers, 40 RBIs. He's on a 4-game hitting streak. He is 8 for his last 19 over the last 4 games. Looks good to me. He has 8 RBIs in the last 3 games with a homer in there. It looks like he's starting to get that back going again. Righty-lefty matchup. Really, really nice value play on Alonso. He's a guy that's usually over 3,500, so I like this buy low spot for him tonight against Andrew Heaney at 3,300. For shortstop, I like Andrew Volpe. Aaron Judge left last night's game with a hand injury, and the x-rays came back negative. Thank God. I'm a Red Sox fan, but, no one roots for injuries. Aaron Judge, we need to see him have a nice, healthy year because he puts up monstrous numbers. We saw him miss a lot last year. So, for any MLB fan, especially Yankees fans, it's nice to see that Aaron Judge looks like he's going to be okay. But in terms of DFS tonight, wouldn't be surprised if they give him a night off after leaving last night. So that could change up this lineup a little bit. It won't change Anthony Volpe. We know he's going to lead off, but, if they lose Judge, they might, squeak in a guy in the top of the lineup like DJ LeMahieu, who comes to mind. Projected to bat 5th. He's 2,400. Still trying to get things going, but the Yankees have a really good matchup tonight against the lefty Cade Povich. Minus 150 favorites. Obviously, New York is a hitter's ballpark because it's so, short in left and right field. So Volpe looks great at 3,000. He's been having a pretty good year. I do think he gets 5 at-bats tonight. He looks like a really good value play at only 3,000 for shortstop. Outfield, the sky is blue. We're picking Shohei Ohtani at Coors Field. Spend the 5,200 and move on with your night. No disappointments here so far at Coors Field. He's 5 for 10, batting 500. He's got a homer. Last night he hit a ball 476 feet to dead center. Longest recorded home run of this season. And he's just been cooking. Just spend up on Ohtani, especially if you have like Hunter Brown or Kevin Gosman. It's just easy to get to Ohtani and some other Dodgers. I'm convinced if he was a Rocky, if he played half of his games at Coors Field, I mean, the guy would hit 60 home runs and he would have 140 RBIs. I mean, this guy would go absolutely nuts. We're getting a nice sample size over the last couple of days. No reason not to just put all of your attention towards Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers tonight. Anyone you can get in your lineup, you should feel good about. Ryan Feltner on the mound for the Rockies, a 1-6 ERA, a 1-6 record, a 5.7 ERA. Minus 200 favorites for the Dodgers, 10.5 over-under. Just by far, by a landslide, the Dodgers expected to score the most runs on tonight's slate. Pick Ohtani and try to finagle your way to getting other Dodgers in your lineups. Then our last play, let's go back to the Mets. Probably batting cleanup. Looks like he still has some gas left in the tank. I like JD Martinez. His price isn't great at $3,400, but if you're picking Pete Alonso, I like picking JD Martinez with him. We saw him have a multi-homer game on Saturday over the weekend, both to opposite field. His vintage signature Oppo Taco home runs. I'd like to know a stat on JD Martinez home runs. He might have more opposite field home runs than left field home runs, but Martinez looks great. He looks like he's still got, a lot left in his career. 285 average, 8 homers, 27 RBIs. Took him a little bit to get going, but he was a free agent all the way up until opening day. The Mets signed him pretty late, so he needed some time to get his legs underneath him. I think he's ready to rumble. Before last night's 0 for 4, he was on a pretty long hitting streak. I like this righty-lefty matchup against Andrew Heaney. Again, the Mets are one of the better teams to stack tonight, so I like Martinez at $3,400. A very comparable play is Andy Page's at Coors Field. They're the same price. I'll be getting my exposure to both of them. He hit a homer last night. He just looks really good, too, at Coors Field. But that'll sum it up for today's video, guys. Let's have a great main slate. Let's do something special. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for your support. Give this video a like. Until next time, I am the FD Guru. Peace.